In this lecture, we will see how to configure the user ID agent, the thick client user ID agent, and see the steps that are necessary to get the user ID agent to work correctly. So here I have an environment where I have Windows 8 client, I have a Windows domain controller, and then I have a member server. I am going to install the user ID agent on the member server. The first step, we have to make sure that the actual domain controller is configured to log successful user logon. So we have to go to the group policies to make sure that this is the case. We're going to go to group policy management. We're going to go to the domain itself and then go to the default domain policy. And then we're going to click on that, right click on that and click edit. And then we have to make sure that the domain controller policy is set up to log successful logon attempts. So we're going to go under Windows settings, local policies, audit policies, audit account logon events. We're going to check here, define these policy settings, and it's best practice to log in both success and failure, and then click OK. This will ensure that the domain controller is logging user logon event both successful and unsuccessful. Successful is what's required. The unsuccessful is basically best practice. And then we're going to close that. And we are going to apply this policy. To apply this policy, we go to the command prompt and then type in gp update. This will update the group policy. To verify that, we can go to MMC and then add the snap-in for computer policy. And then go to computer configuration, Windows settings, security, local policies, audit policies, audit account logon event to make sure that this took effect. So now that that's in place, we're going to go to the member server and install the Windows agent. I have it downloaded here. I'm going to double click on that. Click run. Next. Next. Close. And then we're going to find the software, user ID agent. The first thing we have to do is click setup, create the service logon account username for Active Directory, and to do this we have to set up that user account. So that was supposed to be a previous step. So let's go back to the domain server, and then we're gonna go to the user management. And then we need to create a service account. We're going to call this user agent. Give it a password. Finish. And then this is an article on what is required. So the service account in 2012, it has to be a member of distributed COM users and event log readers and server operators. So we're going to find that user. Then member of, we're going to find distributed com users, add that member, event operators, event log readers, and then server operators. Apply. Okay. Then we're gonna go do the WMI authentication portion. This is a requirement because the actual user ID agent uses WMI to query the data. So we'll go ahead and do that step here. I'm gonna run WMI mgmt msc. We're gonna right click and choose properties, select security, and then under root CIM v2, click on security, find the account, add the account, and then we're gonna check enable account and remote enable. Apply. Okay. And then we're gonna go to the user ID agent, put this information in place, edit. Username for Active Directory is user agent at lab.local. This is domain, password. The server to monitor, we're gonna enable security log monitor. Client probing, like we said in the previous lecture, client probing enable us to verify the user if there's a high load of IP address changes. That's it. We're not using syslog at this time. And then we're gonna click discovery, auto discover. We're gonna find the domain controllers. That's the domain. And then we're gonna click commit. So the logon was not accurate. Control panel, gonna find services, view local services, gonna find the user ID agent, log on. We're gonna use local system account, that's fine. Let's go ahead and start it. I'm gonna create a user and log into the Windows machine to check and see if I see that event. I'm gonna go here in domain controller and then add a user, new user, test user 1, test user 1. And then we're gonna check and see if we see that user IP address. So we'll go ahead, go to the Windows 8 machine, and then log in as that user. The user is in the process of logging in. Let's see if the user agent captured that login. So we see here that IP 192.168.1.50 is added and the user was identified. So in the next lecture we will see how to tie that into the firewall itself.